All right, so um, never done like two of these in one day before, but might as well give this a shot. And as well as, I guess it's like a public coffee shop, Pearland Coffee Roasters. Typically, I do this at home, so that is a little different here. Um, but any case, enough babbling. So figured might as well talk about this book I'm reading. I'm actually reading a couple different books, but the one that I was mentioning um, last time, I guess, meaning a few hours ago, was this one called How to Live Safely in a Science Fictional Universe by Charles Yu. So the synopsis goes like, every day in Minor Universe 31, people get into time machines and try to change the past. That's where Charles Yu, time travel technician, steps in. He helps save people from themselves, literally. When he's not taking client calls, Yu visits his mother and searches for his father, who invented time travel and then vanished. The key to locating his father may be found in a book. It's called How to Live Safely in a Science Fictional Universe, and somewhere inside it is information that will help him. It may even save his life. Apparently, this was a New York Times notable book, and Austin Chronicle said Douglas Adams and Philip K. Dick are touchstones. Yu's sense of humor and narrative splashes of color set him apart. A story that would be looped in your head for days. And then I guess, I don't know who Sarah Wyman is, but from the Daily Beast, she wrote, funny and moving, one of the trippiest and most thoughtful novels I've read all year, begs for a single sit-down experience. Now, obviously, I have not had a single sit-down experience, and me just reading it, I read a little bit at a time, so it has not been one of those where I just sit down there and read the whole book. I could, it's only 230 pages, but I have not done so. What I do like about it is that, it tries to present itself having some kind of scientific synopsis or basis as well. Like, take a look at this, for instance. Let me see if I can actually, if this is actually visible. Partial map of size time loop. And you can see here how, like, there's these diagrams, which almost looks like a technical manual a little bit thrown in there. Most of the book is not like that. So I figured I'd just maybe read like one chapter of it, and then I gotta go because I got a company dinner to run off to, where I have no idea if any of them are going to talk about sci-fi, but hence I'm talking about right here. So they have the start here by a few quotes, like David Hume's quote, "We are never intimately conscious of anything but a particular perception. A man is a bundle or collection of different perceptions which succeed one another with an inconceivable rapidity and are in perpetual flux and movement." And then this other one by David Deutsch says, "Time does not flow. Other times are just special cases of other universes." Interesting thoughts, right? And then lastly, Arthur Miller wrote, the playwright wrote, "Everything we are is at every moment alive in us." I like that. That's pretty beautiful. So anyways, so starting out here on after the initial starting, I don't even know how you would read this, so I'll just show you. It says like, enter the chronological, is this camera working? Can't tell. Enter the following personal data: current chronological age, desired age you were when you last saw your father, computing, trajectory locked. And then there's a chronodiegetical schematic, whatever that is. So there's an A series, B series, with A series being tense theory of time and B series tenseless theory of time, I guess. So it kind of looks like this. Not sure what that is, but probably just throwing here to make it sound sophisticated. But anyways, so then it goes into, when it happens, this is what happens. I shoot myself, not, myself self. I shoot my future self. He steps out of a time machine, introduces himself as Charles Yu. What else am I supposed to do? Kill him. I kill him. I kill my own future. All right, so from the very first paragraph, it's already kind of intriguing. At least when I picked it up, I did. So this book, I actually picked it up on December 1st, 2024. So from today's live stream day, that was 20 days ago. I went to Kaboom Books that day and just bought it in the afternoon. So December 1st, 2024 is when I found this. Okay, so it starts out module alpha, and then it goes into chapter 1. All right, so I'm only going to read, like I said, maybe like 5 pages from this, and then I call it 1, 2, 3, 4. Yeah, I only read 5 pages. So just give you some context, I suppose. There's just enough space inside here for one person to live indefinitely, or at least that's what the operation manual says. User can survive inside the TM-31 recreational time travel device in isolation for an indefinite period of time. I'm not totally sure what that means. Maybe it doesn't actually mean anything, which would be fine, which would be okay by me because that's what I've been doing, living here indefinitely. The tense operator has been set to present indefinite for I don't know how long. Some time now, and although I still pick up the occasional job from dispatch, they seem to come less frequently these days. And so when I'm not working, I like to wedge the gear shift in P-I and just sort of cruise. My gums hurt. It's hard to focus. There must be some kind of internal time distortion affecting here. Because when I look at myself in the little mirror above my sink, what I see is my father's face, my face turning into his. I'm beginning to feel how the man looked, especially how he looked on those nights he came home so tired he couldn't even make it through dinner without nodding off, sitting there with his bowl of soup cooling in front of him, a rich pork and winter melon saturated broth that moment by moment was losing or giving up its tiny quantum of heat into the vast average temperature of the universe. The base model TM-31 runs on state-of-the-art chronodynamical technology, a six-cylinder Grammar drive built on quad-core physics engine, which features an applied temporal linguistics architecture allowing for freeform navigation within a rendered environment, such as, for instance, a story space, and in particular, a science fictional universe. Or as mom used to say, it's a box, you get into it, you push some buttons. It takes you to other places, different times. Hit the switch for the past, pull up that lever for the future. You get out and hope the world has changed, or at least maybe you have. I don't get out much these days. At least I have a dog, sort of. He was retconned out of some space western. It was the usual deal. Hero on his way up, has a trusty canine sidekick. Then Hero gets famous, important, and all of that. And by the time season 2 rolls around, Hero doesn't feel like sharing the spotlight anymore, not with a scruffy looking mutt. So they put the little guy in a trash pod and sent him off. I found him just as he was about to drift into a black hole. He had a face like soft clay and haunches that were bald in spots where he had been chewing off his own fur. I don't think anyone has ever been as happy to see anything as this dog was to see me. He licked my face, and that was that. I asked him what he wanted his name to be. He didn't say anything, so I named him Ed. The smell of Ed is pretty powerful in here, but I'm okay with that. He's a good dog, sleeps a lot, sometimes licks his paw to comfort himself. Doesn't need food or water. I'm pretty sure he doesn't even know that he doesn't exist. Ed is just this weird ontological entity that produces unconditional, slobbery, loyal affection. Superfluous, gratuitous. He must violate some kind of conservation law. Something from nothing. All of the saliva. And I guess love. Love from the abandoned heart of a non-existent dog. Because I work in the time travel industry, everyone assumes I must be a scientist, which is sort of correct. I was studying for my master's in applied science fiction. I wanted to be a structural engineer like my father, and then the whole situation with mom got worse. And with my dad missing, I had to do what made sense. And then things got even worse, and this job came along, and I took it. Now I fix time machines for a living. To be more specific, I am a certified network technician for T-class personal use chronogrammatical vehicles and approved independent affiliate contractor for Time Warner Time, which owns and operates this universe as a spatial temporal structure entertainment complex zoned for retail, commercial, and residential use. The job is pretty chill for the most part, although right this moment I'm not loving it because I think my tense operator might be breaking down. It's happening now, or maybe not. Maybe it was earlier today or yesterday. Maybe it broke down a long time ago. Maybe that's the point. If it is broken, and my transmission has been shifting randomly in and out of gears, then how would I ever know when it happened? Maybe I'm the one who broke it, trying to fool myself, thinking I could live like this, thinking I could stay out here forever. The red indicator light just came on. I'm looking at the runtime error report. It's like a mathematically precise way of saying, this is not how you do this, man, meaning life, I suppose. It's computed for, hey, buddy, you're massively bungling this up. I know it. I know it better than anyone. I don't need silicone wafers with a slightly neurotic interface to tell me that. That would be Tammy, by the way, spelled Tammy. The TM31's computer UI comes in one of two personality skins, Tim, Tim, or Tammy. You can only choose once. The first time you boot up and you're stuck with your choice forever. I'm not gonna lie, I chose a girl one. Is Tammy's curvilinear pixel configuration kind of sexy? Yes, it is. Does she have chestnut colored hair and dark brown eyes behind pixelated librarian glasses and a voice like a cartoon princess? Yes, and yes, and yes. Have I ever, in all of my time in this unit, ever done you know what to a screenshot of you know who? I'm not gonna answer that. All I will say is that at a certain point, you lose the capacity for embarrassment. I'm not there yet, but I'm not too far from it. Let's see. I've got a non-trivial thinning situation going on with the hair. I'm rounding on the nearest O, about 5'9", 185, plus or minus, mostly plus. I might be hiding from history in here, but I'm not hiding from biology or gravity. So yeah, I went with Tammy. Do you want to know the first thing she ever said to me? Enter password. Okay, yeah, that was the first thing. Do you know the second thing? I am incapable of lying to you. The third thing she said to me was, I'm sorry. Sorry for what? I said. I'm not a very good computer program. I told her I'd never met software with low self esteem before. I tried hard though, she said. I really want to do a good job for you. Tammy always thinks everything's about to go to hell, always telling me how bad things could get. So yeah, it hasn't been what I expected. Do I regret it sometimes? Sure I do. Would I choose Tammy again? Sure I would. What do you want me to say? I'm lonely, she's nice, she lets me flirt with her, I have a thing for my operating system. There I said it. Never been married, never got married. The woman I didn't marry is named Marie. Technically, she doesn't exist, just like Ed, except that she does. A little paradox, you might think, but really, the woman I never married is a perfectly valid ontological entity, or class of entities. I suppose technically you can make the argument that every woman is a woman I never married, so why not call her Marie? That was my thinking. This is how we never met. One fine spring day, Marie went to the park in the center of town, near the middle school and the old bakery that is now a furniture warehouse. I'm assuming she must have, right? Someone like her must have done something like this at some point in time. Mary packed her lunch, or Marie packed her lunch, in a paperback, and walked the half mile to the park from her house where she lived or never lived. She sat on a worn wooden bench and read her book and nibbled on her sandwich. The air was warm syrup, was literally thick with pollen and Deadland clocks and photons moving at the speed of light. An hour passed, then two. I never arrived at the park wearing the only suit I never had, the one with a hole in the side pocket that no one ever saw. I never noticed her that first time, never saw her looking at the tops of the eucalyptus trees, running her thumb over the worn page corners of the book open, face up on her lap. I never did catch her eye while tripping over my own foot, never made her laugh that first time. I never asked what her name was. She never told me that it was Marie. A week later, I did not call her. A year later, we did not get married in a little white church on a hill overlooking the park where on that first afternoon we shared a bench, asked polite questions, tried hard not to stare at each other while we imagined the perfect life we were never going to have together. A life we never even lost, a life that would have started right at that moment and never did. I woke up to the sound of Tammy crying. How do you even know how to do that? I asked her. I wish I could be more sensitive, but I just don't understand why they would program her to have such depressive tendencies. Like, where in your code are you getting this from? This makes her cry even harder, to the point where she starts to do that warbly, gasping, heaving, sobbing thing that little kids do, which makes no sense because it's not like Tammy has a mouth or vocal cords or lungs. I generally like to think of myself as pretty empathetic, but for some reason my reaction to crying has always been like this. It's hard for me to watch and just generally stresses me out so much that my initial response is to get mad, and then of course I feel like a monster, which is immediately followed by guilt. Oh, the guilt. I feel guilty. I feel like a terrible person. I am a terrible person. 185-pound sack of guilt. Or maybe I'm not. Maybe it's just that I'm not the person I was going to be. Whatever that means. Maybe that's what messing with the tense operator does to you. You can't even say things that mean anything anymore. I would have asked Tammy what she's crying about, but it almost doesn't matter. My mother would do this too. All that liquid emotion just filling her up, right up to the top of her tank, a heavy sloshing volume, which at any moment could be tripped over, emptied out into the world. I tell Tammy it would be all right. She says, what would be all right? I said, whatever you're crying about. She says that is exactly what she's crying about, that everything is all right, that the world isn't ending, that we'll never tell each other how we really feel because everything is okay. Okay enough to just sit around being okay. Okay enough that we forget that we don't have long, that it's late in this universe, and at some point in the future, it's not going to be okay. Sometimes at night, I worry about Tammy. I worry that she might get tired of it all, tired of running a 66 terahertz, tired of all these processing cycles every second of every hour of every day. I worry that one of these cycles, she might just halt her own subroutine and commit software suicide. And then I will have to do an error report, and I don't know how to even begin that to Microsoft. Okay, I guess I have like 2 more pages, so I just finished reading this. Don't have many friends, Tammy, I guess. Her soul is code, is a fixed set of instructions. And also, you might think having a relationship with someone like that would get boring after a while. It doesn't. Tammy's AI is good, really good, smarter than I am by a mile, by an order of magnitude. All the time I've known her, Tammy's never said the same thing to me twice, which is more than you ask for most human friends. Plus, I've ed for petting and body heat. I think that probably sounds more yucky than it really is. There's pretty much it for companionship from sentient beings. I don't mind solitude. A lot of people who work in these time machine repair are secretly trying to write their novels. Others are fresh off a breakup or divorce or some personal tragedy. Me, I just like the quiet. Still, it can get lonely. One of the perks of the jobs is I get to use a mini wormhole generator in my unit for personal purposes, so long as any distortions I create in the fabric of space-time are completely irreversible. I modified it slightly to pry open really tiny temporary quantum windows into other universes through which I am able to spy on my alternate selves. I've seen 39 of them, these varieties of me, and about 35 of them seem like total jerks. I guess I've come to terms with that, with what it probably means. If 89.7% of the other versions of you are assholes, chances are you aren't exactly Mr. Personality yourself. The worst part is that a lot of them are doing pretty well, a lot better than I am, although that's not saying much. Sometimes when I'm brushing my teeth, I look in the mirror and I swear my reflection seems kind of disappointed. Realized a couple of years ago that not only am I not super skilled at anything, I'm not even particularly good at being by myself. All right, then there's like this another page. Unsatisfied nature of. Minor Universe 31 was slightly damaged during its construction. As a result, the builder-developer who owns the rights abandoned the original plans for the space. At the moment work was halted, physics was only 93% installed, and thus you might find that it can be a bit unpredictable in places. For the most part, however, while here, travelers should be fine relying on any off-the-shelf casual processor based on quantum general relativity. The technology left behind by the MU-31 engineering team, despite being only partially developed, is first-rate. Although the same can't be said of its human inhabitants, who seem to have been left with a lingering sense of incompleteness. All right, so anyways, that was it for like the end of chapter 1, um, and then like a little block, a page, I guess, before it goes to chapter 2. So pretty intriguing, at least that's what I thought. So yeah, maybe I will read some more of it later. I will definitely read more of it later. Not sure about on live stream. But other than that, I gotta get going. So for now, and oh yeah, by the way, clothes I'm wearing, like I said, from local artists. So this one is from the artist April DeConic, which you can find on the Instagram page that I shared, and the other one is okay, not sure what happened here. I think I accidentally hit the back button for some reason. But anyways, I was saying Lynn Bradford made this other one here, and this one was made by April DeConic. So you can find them on Instagram if you like their clothes. So in any case, take care, everyone, and yeah, with all that.